Hey there, Patriots. Welcome back to the front lines. This is Death Watch here to give you guys more intel so you can update your personal armory and fight back against the fake news media machine. And today we'll be discussing Eric July completely putting a full stop to Angry Joe. Okay, because Angry Joe got upset that Eric July and more importantly, um, one of Eric July's colorists, right, who's working on the ESOM comic books, right, definitely support that. Definitely support Eric July because he knows what he's talking about when it comes to a lot of the trends and ridiculous stuff that we have been seeing over the years in a lot of the media that we've consumed over the years, right? Why we have this huge cultural change has comes directly from the political, right? As Eric July says all the time, politics is directly downstream of culture. The people who are make who create culture are the people who work in media, right? Where do these people who work in media come from? They all come from liberal art colleges, right? In those liberal art colleges, they're being told all the new they're getting their firmware updated to regurgitate all the new progressive newspeak terminology, right? The new ideology, and then they go into these different industries to then regurgitate and make these different type of shows, TV shows, movies, comic books, whatever you may have it, reflect their twisted and warped ideology, right? They then present that to children and pretend like this is cool, this is hip, this is the new thing that you guys should be on. And anybody who says otherwise is a evil, racist, conservative, whatever, right? And so that's why you see all these different changes all the time, right? But what they're discussing here is that the new Seth Rogen, I believe Seth Rogen is producing or writing the new film Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles um, Mutant Mayhem, right? This is supposed to be a brand new movie coming out later this year. And we all know Seth Rogen's history of producing or writing crappy movies, right? Santa Incorporated should immediately come to mind, right? Where him and Sarah Silverman decide to just attack Santa Claus in Christmas because they hate Christianity. They hate Christianity and they're upset that Western civilization make a big deal about Christmas, even though is hey, majority of Western civilization is are Christians, and so therefore we're going to celebrate a holiday and have a holiday dedicated to a very popular Christian figure, which was Saint Nicholas. Okay, that's where Santa Claus comes from, right? And so to then make a movie just attacking and being hateful towards Christmas because you don't like Christian, because you essentially just hate Christianity. That's what it was. And to have Sarah Silverman play an elf that was like, I'm tired of Santa Claus being portrayed as a white man, right? Because white people are evil and the white patriarchy is evil, right? And then they had their own like white guy in the movie be like, oh, I have all this white privilege and I hate myself for it. Get out of here, dude. It's completely stupid. But of course, he's now making this brand new movie, which is, of course, probably going to suck, right? And Eric July called it out and saying, hey, this new April O'Neil is proof of it because again and again and again, we're seeing all these not only white characters, originally white characters, be essentially race swapped to be black characters, but they're also being downgraded to look like fat, stocky, unattractive people. Okay. And so Angry Joe decides to then, uh, you know, in his mind, blast, clap back against these against people calling out April's new design by saying, hey, racist, April O'Neil is white, not black. I'm tired of being replaced. This is BS. Woke, woke, woke. Right, and so he then replies, not racist weirdos. I don't care that she's black, but why isn't the 12-year-old hot and sexy instead of ugly and fat? Right. And so he pretty much just takes a this was a direct well, actually this part of it right here, April O'Neil is white, not black, uh was a actual direct quote from one of Eric's colorists for ASOM, right? I think it was. Well, we'll just read the article and we'll get to it. Vargas went after July Rip Reverse colorist, Gabe El Taib, Inglorious Rex creator Shane Davis, YouTuber Milani Mack, and Twitter user Avatar Political, accusing them of racism and wanting to sexualize, what? For their reaction to not only race swapping of April O'Neil, but also the dumpy character design in the upcoming Teenage Mutant Turtles film. July criticized the race swap in design, writing on Twitter, "Tell me you didn't pay money for this new TMNT animated reboot. Opts to tokenize April O'Neil as a fat black woman. This has resulted in fake fans spreading already debunked misinformation. Dead on arrival. Full video is live on YouTube, right? Definitely go watch that video. It's funny." LTA quote tweeted July, writing, "April O'Neil is not white, red-headed lady. Just stop, you dummies," right? And so Joe then takes that part of that tweet and then says, "Hey, the only reason why you're upset is because you just want to sexualize this apparently this character is supposed to be a minor, right? You just want to sexualize a minor, and you're also you're a racist and you just want to sexualize a minor. That's the only reason why you don't like this character design." And then Eric July claps back and says, "No, no, no, you're not going to accuse me or my creators or anybody who's working on my project of of being into that, of being racist and being a p word, right? That's not what we're going to do." And so Angry Joe then comes out with another tweet saying, "Well, I didn't really do that, right? And I expect an apology for because you took it too far, Eric." It's like, no, dude, you know what you were doing, you know what you were trying to say, and because Eric July actually clapped back and says, "Hey, if I ever, he and Eric July said this, he said if he ever goes to a convention and he sees Angry Joe, he's going to confront him about, hey, you said this about me and my coworkers. Um, you know, what's up with that, right? I want to you're gonna apologize, or I'm gonna call you out as being a liar, right?" And so that's what made Angry Joe goes, "Whoa, you're now threatening violence against me, bro. That's not cool, right?" It's like, dude, you know what you're doing, right? As Mike Tyson said, too many people on the internet, are have this, too many people on the internet have this big of an ego that they won't get punched in the face, right? And essentially, not necessarily Eric July is going to go and actually attack the guy, right? Eric July also said that he's not going to physically assault the guy, but he is going to confront him and say, "Hey, you said this about my coworkers. Take it back, apologize, or we're probably going to hash it out legally," right? you know and again, people have has they feel too protected to they can say and do whatever they want online and not face any type of repercussions. But again, these leftists like to constantly go out and say, you saying mean stuff doesn't mean that you're safe from consequences. But again, when they go out and start doing all this crazy and saying crazy stuff and you confront them, then they immediately are the victims, right? They like to throw the first punch, but then when you push back on them, they then start screaming and crying and screaming that you're trying to do violence against them, right? It's stupid, right, to say the least. Davis also shared his thoughts on Twitter, writing, "I know the attack on redheads is real, but come on, April O'Neil is white." And so people are now trying to claim that, well, April O'Neil is actually a black woman. Look at her perm, right? It's like, well, in the 80s, that was kind of all the rage, right? In the 80s, people used to have perms. And we all know over the years, right? Look at this collage, right? Traditionally, original redhead white characters are for some reason being replaced as black people. What is up with that? Why are we? It's not a coincidence anymore, right? It clearly seems to be with malicious intent, that there is somebody who is strategically, and they're doing it with malice. They know what they're doing, right? And another reason why people are pushing back is because this reminds us of Velma, right? They completely taken Velma's character, made her darker skin. They made her look like a more shorter version of whatever the hell, whatever the crap her name. What's her name? Um, Melinda or whatever. I don't even know anymore. I don't care. But anyway, they made her. Velma has been turned from whatever she used to be into just a fat, kind of short, brown skinned girl. Right? They completely taken April and did the exact same thing. It made her a short, fat, stocky, little goblin of a character. Right? And one of the things that I've been seeing and I've been talking about in other videos is that, hey, this is a common thing that you constantly see because you have all these feminists over the years who have been pushing their ideology, right? And even Eric July has been talking about this, that, politics is downstream from culture. The things that you see being pushed heavily in politics is because these leftists get into media jobs, right? Because they all go to the same fine art colleges, right? People, like to say the Cal Arts art style, right? Why do we constantly see that Cal Arts art style, right? We see it in all these new kind of Twitter, what was it, Tumblr esque type of webtoons that you saw all the time, and then people then go somehow get these jobs at all Cartoon Network, all these other different TV stations, and they all have the same exact drawing style. And it's kind of like we get tired of it because it's kind of lazy. It's not really that good, but again, why do all these people draw the exact same way? Because they all go to the same kind of fine art schools, and then they all get into the same cliques. They all learn the same crap. They all learn the same ideology, right? I remember when I took a women in film study class. They essentially it was just nothing more than feminist talking points being regurgitated, just using film. Okay, the whole idea of taking old attractive women, right? We see this in kind of like Sports Illustrated, where they now started saying, "Oh, well, they're trying to push unrealistic female body standards in Sports Illustrated." That's why we now have Tess Holiday, right, who is a heavy set. She's just a fat woman. She's a fat woman being pushed into all these Sports Illustrated or all these Vogue magazines, right? You now start having fat women being presented on health and fitness magazines, as in they're saying, right? We covered this just a couple of weeks ago, right? Where you start having fat women being presented on these health magazines, and they're saying, they're not like, hey, I used to be 300 pounds and I just lost 160. I still have some more to go, but look at my results. You can obtain these same results. No, no, no. They're sitting here putting these women on these magazines and saying we are redefining what it means to be healthy, right? And it's like, why do we see this constant push for fat women to be on the cover of swimsuit magazines, billboards, and all this other crap, and they're trying to regurgitate the idea that this that being overtly obese, right? I should say that to being obese is somehow sexy. It's because feminists over the years has been saying that all these billboards, all these movies, all these magazines having sexy skinny women on it is part of the patriarchy, and we got to fight back against the patriarchy, right? We got to do essentially the male gaze, right? What male gaze is essentially is men it's men assaulting women using their eyes, right? That the whole women aren't supposed to look attractive for you, right? The only reason why women believe that they should look attractive or maintain a unrealistic body standard is because the male patriarchy and internalized misogyny, right? I'm tossing a bunch of buzzwords, but believe me, this is the crap that I've heard, right? I'm just regurgitating things that I've heard myself and trying to explain to you what they mean by all this crap, right? And again, when these people go into these film classes, right, at different colleges, they go to these film classes, they get into these classrooms with all these feminist teachers who are now telling them that, hey, you need to go push back against how older movies, directors, casting calls and all this crap. You need to go against all these old standards because this is what the male patriarchy has told you to do, right? All these hot, sexy women being cast for these roles is part of the patriarchy. You need to start casting fat, unhealthy looking, obese women, not attractive women for these roles because doing so will help you defeat the patriarchy, right? And this is why we see this constant trend again and again and again. Okay, you got to understand again. Eric July says politics is downstream from culture. Whoever controls the cultural narrative can ultimately control the political, right? Yuri Bezmenov, right? Going back to the 80s, the 70s and 80s, right? Ex-KGB agent openly said this is how you can essentially change the outcome of a country, change the cultural beliefs of a entire nation by going after the young. By once you are able to demoralize and rehardwire the future generation of a nation, to get them believe in more radical ideologies, you can then get them to, when they become voting age, to start voting in ways that will take out the older belief system, the older traditional belief system, right? And we are seeing it again and again. That's why so many younger people are becoming more of these progressive socialist types instead of being kind of conservative and individualistic, right? It's all connected. This is why you kind of have to have an understanding of the political and the trends that you see and why you were seeing them, right? If you don't have an understanding of that, then you're just gonna sit here and be confused all the time. Like, I know something is wrong here, but I can't really piece it together, right? This is why, because you don't have a understanding of what it used to be, what is actually being presented in all these different factions, right? So at the end of the day, Joe then decides to try to walk it all back. Except I didn't label him a racist. I didn't know him. I don't know him. The premise you are going on is that I said Eric is racist, which never happened. People like you are beyond, and argue in bad faith. Y'all just inserted yourself into my timeline over me not caring about April being black. Again, bullcrap. He's just walking it back because he got called out. Okay, and here's direct proof that he again just took a part of what this guy said, and then just rewrote it and said, "Yeah, you're a racist. The reason why you don't like this is because you're a racist and because you're a you just want to sexualize a character that's supposed to be a minor, right?" But at the same time, all these leftists will openly try to push themselves to get into media outlets or Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, Disney Channel in order to write characters that are minors to then be sexually attracted to other characters to fit a narrative, right? We saw the with the whole Disney in Florida, what was it, the imagination, whatever little conference they had where they openly said that, yeah, we are pushing an agenda, we are trying to push for more LGBT characters so that younger children, in younger children media, so that younger children can then identify with this ideology, right? So again, when we call them out for it, they like to sit here and try to use our own words against us, but really we know what they're doing. We know that this is the reason why they redrew April O'Neil like this is they were mindful of it. There's no way that you can't be mindful of it, right? There's no way that you sat here and just said, "Oh, well, I'm just gonna draw a random character," or I drew random characters in the past. Hey, I'm just gonna grab this character artwork that I made maybe a year or two ago and say, "Hey, this is gonna be the new April O'Neil, whatever." We'll just slap her into the show, right? No, you sat down and you said, "Hey, we're going to draw these characters this way for this specific reason." Okay, you're very cognitive of every little pencil stroke that you did to create this character. Again and again, we're going to keep seeing it. We're going to keep seeing it, right? All these characters being replaced by black people or by other like people of different colors. It's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. Somebody is sitting down and saying, "I'm going to do this for specific reasons because this is what I was told." I was told if I do not replace these white characters with a black person, I am assisting the white hetero patriarchy, right? Cisgender patriarchy, whatever, right? This is, again, when you sit down in these classes, when you go back and you watch old SJW talking points, lectures and whatever, right? When you sit down and you listen to these people talk, it all becomes very clear that yes, these people are, because when it comes to art, it's always about making a grand statement, right? Art, these people have, in some ways, even when like it comes to with like the people's costumes, right? When you draw a character in a certain costume, right, you are drawing them that way for a very specific reason, right? The little trinkets that the character have, the way that they talk, you gotta, that's part of characterization. That's how you humanize them, right? You are fit. You're mentally and cognitively thinking about, this is the reason. I'm casting this person as this role for a reason. I'm drawing this character this way with this hairstyle, with this makeup or whatever for a reason, right? To sit here and pretend like these people are not race swapping these characters for a specific reason is stupid. Okay, it's all part of, if you take any type of art class or any type of like going back and looking at I mean, even like when you look at just basic English literature, right? You have the memes about English literature teachers being like, "Oh, what do you think that this author meant when he said the blue melancholy of the sky?" Right? It's like they sit here and say like, "Hey, yeah, this the reason why this author wrote this poem in this way and." Called something, gave personified this object this way was for some deeper reason, right? To sit here and pretend like, oh, nowadays people aren't doing this crap for a much deeper reason as well, it's just stupid. Okay, so with all that being said, sorry this video was long, but you got to understand kind of how all this crap kind of works, right? I know I was kind of all over the place and throwing a lot of information, but again, if you watch my past videos, I'm just regurgitating the exact same thing because again, it's just more and more examples of what we're looking at and what we're having to fight back against, right? Next video is going to be talking more about this because we're going to be looking at Jordan Peterson, talking about why the right is losing. Right, we're going to be talking about why the right is losing, and we're also going to be talking about more about Michael Knowles and all the other crap that's been going on with the whole Hershey fiasco the Daily Wire is doing and stuff like that. So stay tuned either today or tomorrow. We're going to be definitely doing more videos about this type of topic more this weekend and hopefully next week. So like, share, subscribe, stay safe, stay sane, be vigilant, and I'll see you Patriots on the battlefield.